Thank you for joining me tonight. I go by Lune INNATE, and you might hear some thunder in the distance right now. How cool. What I've created today for everyone is basically a pick a card reading. Specifically, I wanted to focus on the energy or a question or a supportive focus that can link to and associate with the present Venus retrograde that we're experiencing. But if you stumble on this down the road, it doesn't necessarily have to be a retrograde period for us to be evaluating, reworking, reconsidering, redeveloping, clearing up, forging new pathways, forging new belief systems, forging new methods, boundaries, etc., for things associated with Venus. So this is money, love, beauty, aesthetic, we could say art for sure, creative energy. So if you're in the process of chewing on your love life or chewing on the patterns that you seem to be falling into, or that you've fallen into in the past, and you're looking for some guidance on how to create something new or something more appropriate or more in alignment with the you that you are now versus the you are perhaps in your 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 minutes ago, in general, So any question that you'd like to focus on, or any area regarding your love, money, your physical beauty, or how you perceive beauty, or how perhaps you're working with beauty or creative energy in general in your life, this is a card reading associated with those options, okay? Or sorry, those associations. Associated with those associations. Yeah, that sounds really good. Please use the timestamps below and feel free to skip ahead. I'm just going to quickly catch up a little bit with you guys, as I've already set my intention as I was getting started and shuffling the cards and everything here. But I'd love to set an intention together with you again to call in some guidance, to call in some clarity, a word, a something, a supportive trigger in some way that helps us look at things a little differently, or perhaps validates an experience or validates something we've been thinking of, So those are always wonderful things that we can get from divination tools and card readings if they do resonate, I hope that it does resonate for you. Just wanted to acknowledge I've been gone for a couple of weeks from YouTube. I've gotten a bunch of messages like, where are you? I moved, and I really needed to take some time for myself. I moved recently. That is always more than I think it's going to be, as much as, I'm grateful and I love the space that I'm in now. It not only takes the time of moving and then setting up, but like physically, like my body truly needed to recover. I was like bruised from carrying furniture and all kinds of stuff, like me and like my partner basically like carried my stuff like back and forth, and it was just like so much. So we were exhausted. That was one thing that kind of started the snowball here. And I think I've even said in the Taurus season video that Taurus season always feels a little sticky and slow to me, and I have setbacks, and I'm a kind of fiery, watery, airy, kind of like dominant person. So like that slowdown of Taurus season really kind of like gets me sometimes. After the moving thing was an issue, I then had some technical issues where I kind of was spinning my wheels and pushing forward to create content, even though I kind of had a thing, like an intuition that like I should pump the brakes and take a moment. I didn't do that, and what ended up happening was I lost like 2 nights of staying up late and 3 videos total, like 2 long videos, 1 shorter video total, due to some technical issues that I didn't even find out about until like I was ready to edit videos. So yeah, this is my video of like getting back into it basically because I really needed to take some time. On top of that, I needed time for just myself. Like I just needed some time to recalibrate, to do energy work for myself, to kind of connect with my personal spiritual practice a little more deeply, you know, a little more in a, like a disciplined approach essentially. So I just needed some time like everybody else does, and I appreciate your patience and your well wishes and checking in on me and stuff. I'm good. But let's get into this pick-a card here. So for pile 1, I have this really gorgeous gemmy rose quartz, kind of like palm stone or meditation stone. Super nice. So this is 1. See if you feel the vibes. Pile 2 is this little amethyst druzy. Very pretty and sweet. Pile 3 is my butt crystal, which someone in Patreon pointed out looks like a turtle hugging a butt. I forget the name of the stone. It's like parasolite. I have a book over there. I'll put the word here for you. So cute though, right? So loving. And then I have this fluorite, this raw piece of purple fluorite, cubic, very raw looking. I mean, I guess they all are except for the rose quartz. All right, so this was 4, butt 3, druzy 2, and rose quartz 1. All right, so let's get into the first reading. And I'm not going to read reversals. Okay, so it looks like group number 1, where you're kind of coming from, is this feeling of comparison, feeling a bit isolated in terms of whether it's, obviously we talked about this, right? Love, money, creativity. You're feeling like you've been, whatever it is, maybe comparing yourself a lot, comparing your success, comparing your ideas, comparing your relationships to other people, or your lack of a relationship, whatever it is, to other people. And you're feeling a bit, you're kind of like rejecting yourself, honestly, like when you do that. You're putting yourself on the outside, because when we're comparing, we're isolating ourselves from the collective of, let's say, like love, or the collective of creativity, and we're putting it as if like there's a separation there. And of course there is. Everybody's on their own level and doing their own thing and very unique, of course. But if you're an artist, let's say, and you're comparing yourself to other artists, it's like, you're an artist. Your work isn't supposed to be like other people's work necessarily. Or maybe you're finding out your work is too much like someone else's work, and you're like sad about that too, or something, you know. But regardless, like, I feel a lot of comparison in these cards in general, and this kind of like self-isolation essentially because of that. Like, that's where your mind is going, looking over your shoulder, perhaps if you've had some creative projects that you're doing, or you're or if it's love, it's kind of like this, well, what's this person doing? Well, what's over here? It's kind of like checking things out almost too much in a way that it's making you unhappy. It's making you feel like you don't have, you know? So that's the first part. But what the present opportunities is providing you with, like, dude, freaking Ace of Wands and Ace of Cups, like, the power to create anything, and the power to have the fulfillment that comes with that, or vice versa, or allowing yourself to feel fulfilled by just like what you have already, and realizing like you have this gift, right? These are both really wonderful cards, but they also signify the start of something. So maybe you feel like you haven't been standing out, or maybe you feel like your love life has been dull, or not up to par with what you want, you know. Again, that like comparison, or that like I really want to be with someone, or I really appreciate being with this person, but are they checking off the things they need them to check off, you know? And what happens then too is we, again, kind of put ourselves out because no one is benefiting from us not being truthful to how we feel in the situation. And we're not benefiting if we do want to stay with this partner. We're not benefiting from constantly looking the freak around either, you know? So, but anyway, back to the present offering, or what's available to you right now is like, hello, like total creative power and fulfillment and a start. These are starting. This is the opportunity to start this stuff. And the, you know, guidance cards, or what we can take from this, what the message is, it's a time to, right, this one, honor tradition, create your vibe, create your aesthetic. Honor tradition as in like your personal tradition. Like, I'm not saying honor tradition like the patriarchal tradition of relationships or money or whatever, but know that like you always have this potential or this power to create what your new like routine is, what your new place looks like how things are decorated, how you make your money. And this card as well is also very highly paired, not just with tradition and structure, but with the spirituality of that, or the spiritual connection, or how spirit lives through the embodiment of, you know, here in this case, showing up to a devotionary, you know, like this is like a churchy kind of place in general. I'm saying church, you know, we could call it whatever, but a place of devotion, a place of spirituality. So the guidance in this card is about like not dwelling on things. Again, like this kind of can circle back. Here's the potential. Here's what you're able to create, your own spiritually connected version and structure and new traditions and new reality. But you're going to go around in a circle if you keep focusing on what was lost and not focus on the good. Again, you're like, you know, it could be like comparing or looking around too much and only hurting yourself in the cause of that, hurting your physical reality as well. Because when we're not, you know, it's not our job to feel amazing all the time. Like, who the heck could do something like that? But when we're distracting ourselves by our comparisons or by looking at every freaking other thing, we're not like holding ourselves upright then. We're not tuned into our power. And thus, if you know, come here to this card about focus on like, oh, my cups are spilled. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, like there's a bridge. You still have 2 cups. I just feel like there's potential to go back around on this loop, and we really don't want to go back around on this loop. So let's see what our oracle cards are. Yeah, right? So get a new story. Rewrite your story. Don't make this be the story that keeps going around in a freaking like circle. You have the power. It's definitely there for you. And if you need a focus for that power, think of what the structure of your life going forward looks like, connected to your spiritual self or your spiritual fulfillment, or creating sacred spaces, or maintaining some kind of, you know, devotion. But it can be just a devotion to you. This doesn't have to be like religious. This doesn't have to be even universal. It could be just considered like the magic in you, the God in you, and supporting that and being devoted to yourself, self-care, tidying up your place, making your space feel great so that creative energy can flow, and so that money energy can flow, so that love energy can flow. I'm just getting a message, and I've had this before, but like putting fresh flowers in your bedroom, you know, just like doing something different that changes the environment that you're so accustomed to can be like a visual trigger of like freshness and rewriting things. So create a new story for yourself. This is the time. The Ace of Wands is about creation, creating something new. You have the Ace of Cups, fulfillment. And the pairing oracle card here is to be generous. And I can't tell you how much I agree with this, you know. When we're focused on what was lost and we only have 2 cups left to ourselves here, it's a lot harder to be like, or it could be a lot harder to be generous, because you're like, oh, but I already lost this. It's like, no, you got your heart broken. still be generous with your love. Like, don't be ridiculous, like give it away, right? But still be generous. You lost some money, or you don't like your job, or you feel the potential, you feel the stress of something, and you feel like you have a limit, you can still be very generous. And it doesn't have to be with money. It can be with your kindness. It can be with your acts of service. It can be with your partner and being generous to them and complimenting them and doing nice things for them, you know, remembering things, doing nice things. So you can still be generous with your energy, and that will put you in this state of abundance because you will be giving so freely. Again, don't be a doormat. Don't be a martyr, but be generous. Be generous with like your I don't want to say your time either, because I feel like that's, again, like something that feels limited, as if we don't have enough of it, or might trigger that kind of thought. But just in general, I've read so many like self-helpy books and stuff like in my lifetime, and so many of the same story that suggests like if you only have $10, like give away 5 and watch what comes back to you. Remember that, you know, like there is no finite of nothing. There is no final nothing. It just triggers the ebb and flow. You know, when we release, more comes back. So just like put yourself in that mindset, you know. All right, so group number 2 with the amethyst druzy. Again, not reading reversals in case I didn't say that out loud to you guys before. Okay. Okay, yeah, oh, okay. So, group number 2, where you're coming from essentially is really juggling a lot of stuff. If this is your personal life, you might be juggling people. If we're tying this to relationships, you might be tying this to people. And it might not even be that you have like all these freaking like, ooh, you know, like suave kind of like things going on. You could, but more so essentially, it seems like you're juggling like your wants and your and other wants, you know, like all the wants that you have. I don't want to say we can't have it all, but we're ridiculous if we think that anything is going to be perfect, like someone could read your mind, or like there isn't work to be done within ourselves because we want to do something different. You know what I mean? Like things don't just like kind of happen necessarily without some effort. So it feels like you've been juggling essentially, like starting different things, whether it's like self-improvement or coordination in some way with like, how do I say this? Just juggling too many things that you want to start. Like you might one moment think you want this kind of relationship or this kind of job, or you might want to make money this kind of way or create this kind of art. And then over here it's like, oh, but what about photography? Or what about, you know, well, I don't know. I don't want to be on those apps. I want to try. It's just like this thing of kind of back and forth about like getting started. So like nothing is kind of getting started. And the juggling is happening as well in the material realm, where you're feeling like you have to really balance things. So like you're seeking balance, or you've been working on balance, but you can just kind of tell that your energy in general is in, you know, like you're starting just too many things, or you have too many things up in the air, and it can be work to maintain like your own frequency and your own balance in when all that is going on. All right. So the present opportunities, though, that are presenting themselves are what is that beeping? Okay, stop. The Queen of Pentacles, right? So this is about like really building something, really nurturing. Like it's not just building like, oh, we're going to go build it, but like nurturing, giving something time, giving something the resources it needs, saving, putting things here or there, and just kind of like really growing things within your own world, right? So financially, this could be saving and investing, or this could be in a romantic context, more of like developing the self, nurturing the self, taking care of the self in terms of the body or the health or the mental health or the emotional intelligence, but working on like cultivating and caring for something like a nest egg or an egg of yourself, you know, like a cocoon of yourself or something, right? So, you know, if that's because of the present situation and we're kind of isolated essentially, that could be coming from that. And then the moon representing the subconscious. So this is saying that you, at this moment, I'm sure forever, but at this moment, your subconscious is certainly something that's going to support your development here. You know, like this is what's available to you. It's kind of magic. It's kind of intuitive. Your intuition, your psychic senses, your subtle senses in general. This is also relate to the mother. Like the two of these both have a very maternal energy in general, whether that means someone like a mother figure in your life or your own abilities to nurture and, you know, love something and care for something from a soft, I don't know, soft moony mama, like grounded mama kind of way. So that's available. And the guidance cards here are so funny, the pairing. The Four of Pentacles and the 9 of Cups essentially it's telling you to not be stingy. It's telling you to do for others, you know, like you don't have to necessarily, you know, hold everything down like that, you know, like you're gonna feel stressed, you're gonna feel weighed down. You want to make sure you're tuning into like helping those less fortunate than you or who don't have the same voice reach as you or those who you care for. So in general, you know, what I'm seeing here essentially is that you've previously felt very scattered, very disorganized in terms of whatever, you know, area of your life you were choosing for this reading, and that you had been seeking balance. And right now you're kind of finding it, whether someone's nurturing you or you're just kind of really caring for yourself and connecting with your intuition, beginning to trust your instincts more. And you know, the message here is to not feel, I'm not calling you stingy at all, that's not what I mean, but it's to certainly remember to like loosen up the grip and to do nice things for other people. All right, and let's get our oracle cards going. All right, so the oracle card here is expect the best. The rain is really coming down now, how fun. Expect the best. And it's true. If we're constantly worried about like, you know, well, I need that for that, I need that for that, I need that for that. Yeah, like you're probably right. You probably do need that for that. Or yeah, you maybe worked really hard. Maybe you did work really hard to cultivate this new you and tune into your intuition and bring that spirituality in, or that just like intuitive empathic side in. And now you're like, you think I'm sharing me with people? You think I'm sharing like putting myself out there? You think I'm gonna do that? I worked so hard to get myself to this place, or I've been working on myself and like, ugh. So if that resonates, right, the guidance is all about still doing nice things for other people, sharing what you have, being kind, just having and being able to give because you've cultivated so much for yourself, so much within yourself, right? So expect the best. Don't put this into this like negative spin necessarily of like, oh, yeah, but then again, like lack, or sorry, the thing over there flashed and it scared me. I guess it always flashes and I just never noticed. I'm always afraid the freaking fire alarm is gonna go off. But you attract what you think about. You do. I know it sounds very pseudoscience, but hey, like whatever. You do attract what you think about. You do manifest. And if you keep thinking about things from a position of old ways, or people are only going to take advantage of me, be mindful, right? Like I'm not telling you to go willy-nilly out there, but anticipate and like expect finding that parking spot, right? Have we all done that before, right? A bunch of times, and you're like, I'm gonna get there, it's gonna be a parking spot, and boom, you get that freaking parking spot, don't you? It's like a little silly way to do it, but it does work. The other card you got is Body Talk, which is about body dowsing, body pendulum, and essentially muscle testing or some other form of quick divination, you know, like the linked fingers essentially. But this is telling you that your body is communicating. First of all, it's telling you you have the power to check in. So if you're feeling something in your intuition and you, it's like, is this like, am I projecting here? Am I not wanting to share because of this? Use your body to test, to muscle test. It's hard to do it for yourself, so I wouldn't suggest the traditional push down arm of muscle testing, but you can do body dowsing. Just stand, ask a question, and if you lean forward, if you feel yourself kind of fall forward, that's a yes, and backwards is a no. So you can ask and check in with yourself and continue to work on trusting your intuition here. But also your body might be communicating to you right now. So whatever you're feeling, if you've been dealing with illness or pain or even just like a twitchy eye or like, I don't know, the things that our body does, right? Like dull aches, headaches, fluttery feelings, tummy's tough, like whatever it is, check out like what that represents from a metaphysical perspective, because it might really reveal something to you essentially. You could just Google metaphysical associations of twitching eye or metaphysical associations of nausea or this or that or whatever. There's of course the Louise Hay book, like Heal Your Body, Heal Your Mind, that has a whole bunch of information in it. But tune into your body and like get on it. Get on like that magnifying power of being able to share how awesome you are and be not only reciprocated, but very much appreciated for that which you're able to spread. You know, it doesn't have to be your money. It can be, it doesn't have to be all your freaking energy. So you're a puddle. Nobody wants to be a puddle, but share because it feels good. Share because that's who you are. That is in your nature. All right. All right, so for the butts, pile number 3. And I'm not reading reversals today. Okay, so pile number 3, where you're coming from seems to be this place of really feeling like you're either really doing it, whatever that was, having it, owning it, executing it, starting whatever it was, big plans, big thoughts, high hopes. But there was almost like a strictness to it. It was almost too tunnel vision. So you had an idea of what you wanted this to look like, whatever it was that you have a specific question or focus on. You knew what it was. You felt very precise in your ability to kind of hone in on what you wanted or what you're manifesting or what you were creating or what you were doing or who you are, right? But there's this kind of tunnel vision energy that I'm picking up a little bit, where it was just tunnel vision doesn't really help manifestations because we don't know every way that something could unfold. And when we have tunnel vision and it can only be done through one way where we feel comfortable with, you know, it's like there's so many other opportunities that we might be missing out on, or just other things that we're going to come through the various ways that something kind of unfolds that would be more serving to the soul and again like less rigid, right? So I'm just feeling this like rigidity, but like a knowing what you want. And at this point, what's available to you essentially is the opportunity to start something new, to start a new journey. Page of Wands here. Something fun, something a little more like a little loose, right? Like, okay, so we've got like Mr. Boots over here, right? Like rigid, like uncomfortable, you know? And tunnel vision is that, it's uncomfortable. And right now you're in an opportunity to kind of like like, what is this guy wearing? Leggings? You know what I mean? Like, or there's even pants on here. Like, this looks comfy, right? Like, so it's starting something new from like a position of comfort or creativity, or something a little more fashionable or a little more fun or a little more flirtatious in general, but kind of seeing something like that in your life. And here, the pairing here of what's available to you is an opportunity for balance, an opportunity to restore some kind of balance for yourself. Perhaps this has to do with your own personal energetic field, but restoring some kind of like harmony, essentially, ability to balance not only for you, but the kind of balance that transforms or ripples, at least, for other people to experience as well. So you're just kind of called to some fun right now, and you have the chance to, don't you? And it doesn't feel like, again, like, why am I using this word? But it doesn't feel like throwing it all to the wind or like willy-nilly or whatever. It feels like almost practical. And you're like, really? Like, this is practical? Like, wearing no pants is practical? Shit, I guess it is, you know? Like, and there's just this like, it's more fun, but it feels very much just like there, and you're kind of surprised almost by how grounded it feels to you. All right, and then the guidance going forward. A lot of wands in this one. Well, I guess so. Queen of Wands and Ten of Wands. So the guidance here is just very like, I'll try to bring them closer. Boop. Guidance for you, of course, with the Queen here is to like own your power and like don't get carried away. You know, own your power. Know who the F you are. Know you can create this. Know it can be fun. Know it can be a party. Know that it can be however, you know, feels most aligned to you. Because with this Page of Wands going out to like freaking live their best life or whatever it is, and like authentically and fashionably and aesthetically, I don't know, like all this stuff, and finding that to feel more grounded and reliable than this felt. Don't get carried away, right? Like, take it into that place, but like keep it grounded, keep it balanced, keep keep it tasteful, right? Because we can all get carried away sometimes, and this is kind of just the guidance here. Like, don't get carried away. Don't take on more than you can handle, and don't forget that like you're that bee, and you always have this kind of like inner diva, this inner like, I know myself, I freaking know myself, and this is what I need, and this is what I want, and this is how I want to do it. And really like just step into your power. There is the guidance, right? And then your oracle cards. Seek solitude. Kind of self-explanatory. I don't think you even need to seek it at this point, but we still kind of do, don't we, right? Like, I mean, I'm home by myself, but if my son's here, I'm not really getting any time to myself, right? Like, you know, I love him, I'd rather be with him, but I'm just saying there's a guidance here to kind of like do it on your own, remove outside influence, really spend some time working with yourself to see who you are, how you want it, how are you gonna show up like this? Like, how are you gonna get this started if you know that like you were always meant to be in this kind of like, or you just feel called now that you are gonna be in this more powerful and more authentic position to who you are, being guided more effectively by your own inner guidance. All of that needs time for compartmentalization, time for growth, time for cultivation, and spending time by yourself with purpose, I would say, as in like adding it. Make sure you're adding it, you know, to your routine, to your schedule, is what I should say by that. And feed your spirit. So these can obviously be done together, but while you're taking time for yourself, make sure you're doing things for you that tune you into this like powerhouse that you're creating yourself as, or that's unfolding within you. All right, so essentially in this time alone, what are those books? What are those things you want to study? What are those journaling entries and YouTube videos, tutorials and stuff that you want to look into? There's some kind of self-development here, but you're going to find it through what speaks to you on a passionate level, not what someone necessarily recommended to you and you're like, maybe you'll give it a shot. Something that really speaks to you, something that feeds your soul, that is appetizing. You know what I mean? That like you feel hungry for, is a way of working with that. So what does feed your soul? What does, get you kind of like salivated a little bit to essentially get more out of life, like get more out of life, have more fun, be more you, be brighter, right? Like you could wear all black, but I'm trying to say, like, be brighter, be more shiny, more glowy, like of yourself. What are the things that speak to you that you can do for yourself in especially this time to allow that to unfold most effectively? All right. And pile number 4, the fluorite. And again, I'm not reading reversals in this this reading. Funny themes here across the board. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so pile 4. It seems like where you're coming from. Okay. It seems like where you're coming from has been a battle, like you've had to battle to get where you are, and you've reached some kind of level for yourself. You've reached some kind of maybe security, maybe understanding, maybe some kind of milestone or something along the lines of that. But it was a fight, it was work, it was difficult. It was not a walk in the park. It was certainly not handed to you. This is effort that you've put in. A lot of battling your own demons here. A lot of learning about yourself and using the power of your own mind to overpower your own mind in a way and kind of like knock it into place so that you're able to manifest, so you're able to live a really beautiful life, so you're able to be happy. And kind of also it feels like there was some kind of responsibility that you felt as well, like you had to do it. This might be tied to the patterns of your family dynamics, it might be just tied to how you're brought up in general. And the present opportunities for you are that you're becoming more comfortable with this recognition. You're becoming more comfortable standing, quote unquote, standing among peers or those who are on this level. So, if you were, I don't know, I'm just gonna use romantic stuff first, but if you, God, how many times am I gonna say this? Sorry. But in the past, if you had kind of seen like, why am I attracting all these like nothing going on people, like they're not even passionate about anything, right? Like kind of people, why am I with that? You're kind of seeing like, oh, as even before perhaps because you were attracting these like, I'm trying to sound like a jerk here, but some people who didn't really have a lot going on, and you're like, why is this, right? But you might have been approached as well, or even seen, even if it was on a freaking app, somebody who was kind of on like what you would call a more developed kind of level. And I'm not trying to tell like that like people are worse than others. I'm just saying what's aligned to you, right? Like you as an individual. And you see people and you're like, oh, but they're like too nice for me. It's like, I don't have abs. Like I don't have that. I don't drive this, like, so I better just stick with this. You're becoming more comfortable accepting, it seems like, that like, oh, you're there, that's, of course, that's what you're attracted to because that's what you are. So you're kind of just like seeing that in yourself a little through this period. And you've got the Tower here as an opportunity. This is the time to really come out of this like swinging different. You know what I mean? Like hitting different. You're gonna hit different after this, but you really are. Seems like in a position where a complete reorganization, a complete restructuring in a sense, like of your life is really going to serve you. It's an opportunity. It's not something negative, you know? So if this was a career or money situation and like you're finally seeing like, oh damn, like, no, I am worth that. I am worth that. Why am I like working this many hours to get here? Or like, all right, fine, like I am on that level now, or maybe I can have an assistant, maybe I can, whatever, right? There's something that's gonna crumble too, because it's gotta make way for that, right? And it's an opportunity. So just whatever your personal tower is in your life, your personal crumbling, typically of something more material, something more structured, something like you can touch or you engage with in some way, crumbling your day to day, see that as a blessing, because it is an opportunity for you right now, right? And your guidance on like going forward is to hold your enthusiasm, hold your zest, hold your life, your lust for life, and keep focused on that. Like keep, like, no, like, yes, you did do the work. Yes, you do have the skills. Yes, you did climb the ladder, or you did do whatever that work was, right? Sorry, I'm like repeating myself. And you're feeling more confident, right? Like you're getting there, and you're gonna just keep evolving into that position, you know, to know like you are a babe, or you are highly intelligent, or you are full of good ideas, and you do carry that, and you carry a lot with you. And it's an honor through the initiations that you've been through to kind of keep it going, right? And here with this pairing, again, this is like more of your guidance on like going forward or what you can work with. You've also got an invitation here for new thought, for new ways of looking and working with things. So some new potential essentially on the horizon in terms of your mental space, in terms of the things you allow to play out and unfold in your mind. And this might be a little guidance as well to simply to trust yourself, to trust your mind, to trust your thoughts, because it did serve you well going forward. But just now trust it with knowing like that you are awesome and you've done so much. So trust that. All right, and then you have your 2 oracle cards. I've never got this one before. It's a team effort. So keep in mind who the heck is around you, right? Because if people remember you only, well, I shouldn't even say that, but even pre-fighting your battles, when like you're just like figuring out your battles, if people that are in your circle have seen you in that position and you feel that they're not honoring that, listen, like, now I'm going here, you know what I'm saying? I'm going here. I'm not messing with that stuff anymore. I'm on my way. I see that in myself now. I carry my head a little higher. I say flat out what I don't want or what's not good enough for me. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it kind of stuff. You know, not like you're a jerk or you gotta be a jerk about it, right? But just be mindful of like all the shared energies in your space. And if, again, like somebody's seen you before and they're holding you in a space of like, yeah, well, I remember when she still had to live at her freaking in-laws house and she didn't have this, or she had a bad relationship, you know. It's like yeah, like get them out of there, like get them out, or have a talk and be that direct person that you know you are, and like, look, like I feel like you're kind of holding me where I was, and I want to figure out like why are you doing that, you know, or you know, do we have a problem here, kind of thing. Like I'm sounding tough right now. It doesn't have to sound so tough, but be mindful, because like we share energy with people. We share energy. We pick up from them. We make deposits with them, you know. So be careful of like who's in your group essentially. Your other card is name your higher self. So you're being asked here, as you're developing yourself, as you're finally seeing yourself in your kind of higher form, your more evolved form, and you see yourself getting and going even further with this energy, this development, this way that you see yourself now, and you're able to kind of like come at things now from like, no, I actually have everything I need now, guys, you know, like I got it, guys, you know, like that kind of thing. It's the cards, the guidance here from the oracle cards, sorry I'm so stuttery today, is basically to connect with your higher self, give it a name, talk to it, develop a rapport, bridge the connection, you know. So in you know, Lune INNATE is a version of me, right? Like, I'm Jillian. I'm freaking Jillian from Jersey, and I curse too much and all this stuff or whatever. But Lune INNATE, she's a different version of me. It's not to say I'm not her. But it is a way for me to kind of get into a role, to get into a facet of myself, right? And it's a higher nature, you know? It's like someone who's calm, who's collected, a version of me who is calm and collected. So perhaps it's time to name, whether it's your higher self or, I don't want to say your alter ego, but just a facet of who you're showing up to as, rather, rebranding, you know, like rebranding how you see yourself, however that unfolds for you. I know not everyone has like a brand necessarily, right? But this can be your handle. You know, if your handle was like some like 420, 426, 969, like kind of thing. Maybe brand a little, you know, like maybe not everybody needs to know that, right? Like just consider like you've done it, so like show up as it. Give yourself a new name and watch the collective around you. And make sure nobody's got some energy that's like swashing around that ain't helping you, you know, and you're not helping them. I just want to say, you're not really helping them. You help them in the moment, but you're not really helping them in the long term. You know, like there are people who show up in our lives who are fine, like they're fine people. But if they are holding us in, if they're just like kind of, you know, a Debbie Downer like all the time, or they want to cut down or talk shit about their relationship all the time, or they want to talk about how there's not enough money, or, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, you know, in the moment when you hear them out or you share your thoughts with them, it's engagement and it supports a little bit, maybe, but in the long term, it's not really like helping anybody. You know, I'm sorry, but it's not. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed your card reading. I hope that it somehow made its way through the collective kind of field and like wording to support you, you know, support you in some way today. I thank you so very much for allowing me to share a little piece of your path today. And I thank you as well for your patience and for letting me create a video that's a little simple and one that I can do as I'm gearing back up to get into the flow of all the videos that I want to create. I have a sponsored video coming out, so please don't smack me. And I have a collab video coming out with that I still have to do with Silver Hair. I'm super excited. He's super cool. Super cool. It's just been I've just had a rough month in general with all that stuff. So I'm doing it. Thank you again. It means the world to me. And, you know, I hope that you enjoyed. I bow to the divine within you and I, the magic that we share. Namaste.